I don't guess you would know it. You'd just be it. Nobody would know it. Wouldn't make any difference. When you die, it's the same as if everybody else did too. That's kind of poignant, because if you die, I mean, it's like nobody else exists in the world for you. It's like, boom. Anyway, it wouldn't make any difference. When you die, it's the same as if everybody else did too. I guess God would know it. Is that it? There is no God. No? There is no God, and we are his prophets. So, like the prophets of the non-existent God. Kind of, like I said, the anti-prophet. I don't understand how you're still alive. How do you eat? I don't know. You don't know? People give you things. People give you things. Yeah. To eat. To eat, yes. No, they don't. You did. No, I didn't. The boy did. There's other people on the road. You're not the only ones. Are you the only one? The old man peered warily. What do you mean? He said. Are there people with you? What people? Any people. There's not any people. What are you talking about? I'm talking about you. About what line of work you might be in. The old man didn't answer. I suppose you want to go with us. Go with you. Yes. You won't take me with you. You don't want to go. I wouldn't have even come this far, but I was hungry. People that gave you food, where are they? There's not any people. I just made that up. What else did you make up? I'm just on the road, same as you. No different. Is your name really Eli? No. You don't want to say your name? I don't want to say it. Why? I couldn't trust you with it. To do something with it. I don't want anyone talking about me. To say where I was or what I said when I was there. I mean, you could talk about me, maybe. But no one could say that it was me. I could be anybody. I think in times like these, the less said, the better. If something had happened and we were survivors and we met on the road, then we'd have something to talk about. But we're not. So we don't. Maybe not. You just don't want to say in front of the boy. You're not a shill for a pack of road agents. I'm not anything. I'll leave if you want me to. I can find the road. You don't have to leave. Not seen a fire in a long time, that's all. I live like an animal. You don't want to know the things I've eaten. When I saw that boy, I thought I had died. You thought he was an angel? I didn't know what he was. I never thought to see a child again. I didn't know that would happen. What if I said that he's a god? The old man shook his head. I'm past all that now. Have been for years. Where men can't live, gods fare no better. You'll see. It's better to be alone. So I hope that's not true, what you said, because to be on the road with the last god would be a terrible thing. So I hope it's not true. Things will be better when everyone's gone. Okay, I'm just going to time out for a second here. Think about that thing that Eli just said. Alright, so things usually go two ways when people are in a pinch. Either their faith in God is strengthened and they call on him to get them through this hard time, or their faith in God gets thrown out the window and they're like, there's no way that God can exist and let this happen, and I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe in fairy tales, whatever. And so throughout this whole book, we kind of been getting this religious imagery with the boy and kind of this, innocent, angelic sort of descriptions of him. And the man, even all the way back, I think it was on like page 5, he said he knew only that the child was his warrant. He said if he was not the word of God, then God never spoke. So the man truly believes that like the child is the only blessing left on this earth. He might be a god. But here's what I want you to think about. I hope that's not true what you said, because to be on the road with the last god would be a terrible thing. So imagine if this apocalyptic event happened, or things just spiraled out of control in this world and people had to fend for themselves and they were cannibalizing and there was all this evil awful in the world, but then you found out that God is in the world, right? And I don't know whether the man is referencing the boy as a god like the Christian God, or just sort of as a god as, like a higher, some sort of higher being. But, one of the sort of basic, I don't know, requirements of being a deity is that you can do things that, mortals cannot do. You have some sort of power or influence. And imagine if you were in this situation and there was an incarnation of God right there next to you. And, that could be amazing or that could be awful, because you'd be think, oh, this is great. Here's an incarnation of God. He can help us. He can save us. He can turn things back the way they were. But then you would also think, but he hasn't yet. Or he won't. All right, so that's what Eli is saying. And I mean, I guess I don't want to make any sort of conclusion about that, but just food for thought. Anyway, going back to the dialogue, Eli says things will be better when everybody's gone. They will? Sure they will. Better for who? Everybody. Everybody. Sure, we'll all be better off. We'll all breathe easier. It's good to know. Yes, it is. When we're all gone at last, then there'll be nobody here but Death, and his days will be numbered too. He'll be out on the road there with nothing to do and nobody to do it to. He'll say, where did everybody go? And that's how it'll be. What's wrong with that? So now Eli, again, he's sort of like, again, the anti-prophet, the anti-God, the anti, I don't want to say the anti-Christ because that's something totally different. All right. But he's trying to argue, if everybody's dead, nothing can be terrible because there's nobody to experience terrible. It'll just be death, and death will be like, there's nobody here left to take, so bye. All right. There was one. No, it already happened. So that's all I have to say about Eli. And this is important because if we were looking at religiousness as a spectrum in this book, you might be able to say that the boy is on the very end of one side of the spectrum, where he's probably the most hopeful, kind, Christ-like, Christian, religious type of person there is here, even though it's really stunted, and a lot of that just shines through in his innocence. It's like when Jesus, said, you should have the faith of a child. Well, he is a child, and so he has some faith in this world. And then sort of in the middle of the spectrum, you have the man where he's like, I don't know, believing in God is really hard, but I do have my son, and he brings me hope. So, I mean, if you're looking at this as far as like a Jesus parallel, I mean, the father has his son who is the hope of the future of the world. Check that imagery out. And then on the other side, we have Eli, which, I mean, it's a biblical name, but he lies about it. It's not his name. So, I mean, he is kind of almost like, I don't want to call him the devil. I mean, because he's really cynical. I mean, he's kind of like, he is almost kind of like what Lucifer's like in the Bible, where, when he's out there tempting Jesus and stuff, he's never actually being like, come, Jesus, be evil. You can be evil. No, the devil's always there in the Bible like, hey, Jesus, I see you're in the desert. You have the power to turn this rock into bread, so why don't you just do it? Right? Just kind of like that slick, sort of where the phrase comes from, devil may care attitude, where it's like, why are you putting yourself through all this suffering? You can fix this. It doesn't have to be so bad. That's the way the devil was like. Now Eli shows up here. Eli's a biblical name, but it's not actually my name. I'm not 90. I'm not this old man. I don't even believe in God doesn't exist. I mean, it's so easy for God, like, everybody will be fine if they just die. Like, you wouldn't know if you're the last person on earth. So it's kind of that slick, oily attitude. All right, but we're really sort of getting this contrast of beliefs here. Although the closest that Eli does come to sort of giving into this supernatural feeling is recognizing that the boy was something else. He's like, oh, I thought I died. Like, I thought, this is crazy. I never thought I'd see a child again. So again, almost kind of like that Jesus imagery where, even the people who don't necessarily believe are like, this is a force that I didn't see coming. Right? So take that as you will. All right, and that's my book chat. I know there's 3 parts. I'm sorry it went on for so long, but there's a lot to talk about in that section. All right, thanks.